recorded this song, the Hawaiian Style Band. We recorded this song goes like this.
Celebration on the palace ground. People need to know what's going down. There's a proclamation from the powers that lead. Our island nation has got to be free. Living in a sovereign land. Island people come together under the sun, singing songs of freedom, singing songs of love. Living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land.
Shout out me now, see sugar time.
Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land. Brothers and Peter on yellow and white. Time to do what you know is right. What's been taken must be returned. Give our children what they deserve. Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land.
Here we go, gang. Put your hands together.
Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land. Living in a
Okay, go ahead.
Aloha kakahi aka kākou I ke ia poa ono nei. Aloha li'i o Kauai. Aloha e nā li'i o Oahu. Aloha e nā li'i o Maui. Aloha e nā li'i o Hawaii. Aloha nā maka aina nā o ko Hawaii pai aina, nā palapala kuleana aina, nā palapala ho'o kuleana I ko kākou aina. Welcome to 127 years of injustice, discrimination, illegal occupation, targeting incarceration, 7 days of headline news in 1 hour. Welcome to the dark side of Hawaiian politics, Hawaiian Kingdom news. To the national crisis with the weather.
Aloha kako, Saturday, July 11th. Weather. Your north highs today 81, lows 79. Your east highs 88, lows 77. Your southwest is high 82, lows 80. And your west high today is 85, lows 81. With your Enalu surf report, Moko Keawe, your north flat to 2, east 4 to 6. So please be safe out in your east zone. It's still manageable, but if you are not a good swimmer or a kama'aina from the aupua, be safe. Your south and your west. Saturday, July 11th. Back to DJ Derbs for the Manaolelo.
So our title for this week is We Got We. It's only us, Kako. The Hawaiian Kingdom subjects, with the truth, with the honesty, to bring Pono back to the islands. So our Manaolelo is Ko Kako Aina. Our land. Our Aina.
Eyo.
Our Hawaiian Kingdom. And we for justice for 100 years is just too long. So in Ko Kako Aina in fehevehe.org, you're going to see ours, possession. Yeah, the possession is for us, all of us that know the truth. And then when you go to May 23rd, 1894, there's an article that's titled E Kupa'a E Kalahui. E nā hoa aloha me nā maka na hoa makaaina na pau o ka mo'i wahine lili o kalani I aloha nui ia. E like me ko mākou kahua I kuai a paio no ka pono kaulike o ko kako aina aloha. Mai kona ho'okahuli ia ana I ka lā umikumahiku o I. Umikumama kolu a hiki I keia la. Ua ku mākou, a ku e aku me ka ikaika o ka maka o ka peni. I nā hana ino a ka poe kipi, ka poe hoi nāna I aihue I ko kako aina aloha. Me ka mana o nā mea kaua o ka moku kaua base tonea. Our ancestors who lived during the illegal overthrow, the ho'okahuli, says clearly this is our aina. This is the love of our land. And the illegality began with the battleship Boston. When the Marines set their foot on Ko Kako Aina, that initiated the state of. We cannot ignore Kupuna. So if you ever get to ask a question on any candidate forum, remind them of our Kupuna stance in the Ku'e petitions and in the newspapers of when the illegality began. That is the most important. That's our We got we no kako. No ko kako aina.
No kako aina. Mahalo DJ Derbs. Bringing a kupuna with us today, yeah? Kako. Without waiting no more from the topics of the genocide and the colonizers this week, Saturday, July 11th, DJ Derbs, who is the community gonna smash on first this week?
This week we got. Oh, Kalamai, technical difficulties.
Here's one.
You never do the weather, Hawaiian.
Power rating. Excuse me, Kako. DJ Derbs woke up a little bit early from a late night campaigning. If you guys didn't have a chance to tune in and check it out, the only candidate to call out the 127 years, DJ Derbs. There was a lot of other candidates out there, a lot of old dinosaurs. I hope you guys watched and looked and seen the rare species that are about to go extinct, but they still find their way around. DJ Derbs, did we get connected? Now back to it. Derbs, smash or pass? Collusion or solution?
Top news, Star Advertiser, July 8, 2020. Hawaii's coronavirus testing capability to be cut in half after mainland company reduces supplies. This is just egregious how we are going to move forward with plans of opening. It's unbelievable that the current system today wants to start school, wants to open up tourism from the largest testing identified in the hundreds of thousands tourists that will be coming to the Hawaiian Kingdom, and we can't even test them because we're not going to even have any tests. So I just gotta say, smash for reopening right now because we're not going to even have any tests to test anybody.
Cornerstone, what's the gig?
The gig is, this is the outcome of 7 years of U.S. occupation in islands. And as you can see, this actually sets back the safety of the Hawaiian population. Because if you cannot get enough, testing capabilities, how are you going to actually know who has COVID-19 or who has not, right? And with the August 1st reopening of people coming into the occupied state, that's going to be more compounded on our population. And, to me, it's like, it's business as usual in the fake state, and status quo where tourists or tourism, the most important commodity in the and they have total disregard for the safety of our people. So with that, I actually give the company and the fake state a collusion to actually hide the the fact that we don't gonna have any full awareness of how much people are positive with the COVID-19.
So simple smash pass, or is this we giving them?
Oh, I mean, first of all, it's collusion, but
Oh, it's definitely.
yeah, but it's it's smash for the fake state to actually not get enough of this this COVID-19 test.
So Kako, Hawaii coronavirus testing capabilities to be company reduces supplies. So this issue was taking place even earlier, prior to COVID-19, where the state of Hawaii was in collusion with IGE testing kits that went bump. Yes, Kako, if you guys remember, the testing kits that they sent to Hawaii first was insufficiently testing and not giving the right diagnosis. So you see the government and the games they play, Kako, during this COVID. They order the testing comes, arrives, and it doesn't even for coronavirus. So for me, Kako, we'll continue to be reporting and continue to bring you this kind of stats because this definitely, without a doubt, is collusion within the state to continue to conspire to defraud us, the nationals of Kauai Aina, and tell us we're safe when we're not. And that's why we smash. DJ Derbs. On the chopping.
After that news comes out, when there's our testing capabilities will be cut in half, star advertiser Hawaii News comes out with Hawaii debates how is too close in the classrooms. So the state of Hawaii, the Department of Education, choose to change the normal regulatory CDC recommendations of 6 feet everywhere to only 3 feet in our classrooms. Why do they believe that reducing the distance from 6 feet to 3 feet will be better for us trying to reduce coronavirus when half our testing capabilities is gone and the meetings that these professionals have are over Zoom? How about you guys go and meet together before you recommend students using only 3 feet distance apart? It's just unfathomable. So I just gotta give the DOE and recommending 3 feet distance a big fat smash because we don't want our keikis to attract coronavirus and then go home and spread it to all of the families.
KP. What's up, man?
Okay, so, with
3 feet, 6 feet.
it has to be minimum 6 feet. See, the problem with the fake state is that they want to actually, get all the students and because if you can, if they can persuade people to believe in their false narrative, you can. Oh yeah, you can actually cut from 6 feet to 3. Now you can put more students in a class, and now, they're going to spend less money on education. But it's not about the money. It's about education and the safety of our keiki. That's number one. So with this nonsense of, the 3 feet, it's irresponsible, and, we need to push back and say no. In fact, with this, surge of COVID-19, they need to really look at reopening the schools for the safety of the keikis. So I give the DOE and the fake state of Hawaii a smash.
Yes, Kako. Homework Simpson is in. Just checked in. Complications with the fake state problems.
Check.
But the classroom debate, 6 feet or 3 feet. And for me, for Kapo'ole, homework gets into it. The standard is 6 feet, Kako. If the federal government tells the state and the county of genocide, like the Star Colonizer reports, so these things, we're dealing with our keiki, 3 to 6 feet. The mandate shall not fall short of 6 feet. For us fathers will not allow the state of confusion to continue to collude with the state and the other individuals to try and see if they can get away with putting our kids and our teachers in greater health risk due to the lack, or should I say, due to the process of collusion that the state is doing with the left hand, right hand, and our kids are not going to be victimized in this process.
I have one thing to actually add. With our island nation compared to the United States, how many of the states within the United States ever brought up this issue of from 6 to 3? Right?
Yes.
So only in the fake state.
Only
It's
in the
like-
fake state,
yeah.
they wanna try and do their own game.
Right, and simply is because they want to save money. That's the thing is, and put our keiki at risk.
KP. Homework. What you think? 6 feet, 3 feet, short sleeve, long sleeve.
Oh man, I think that's like the left hand or the right hand, right, or the same crook. You know, which hand is short or which hand get more reach, right? I gotta defer to our meets and bounds, right, in the Hawaiian Kingdom. So let's get back to I said 2 miles last week, but I think it's 3 miles. I was corrected by one of our patriots out there. So let's get to the 3 mile economic zone. You guys need to step back 3 feet, 3 miles, right, so to speak. And I think it's more of a it's a controversy that doesn't really address the real issue, right? And that's the fact that we need testing before we can even consider having students and teachers in the classroom, right? So what's the testing gonna be like? No, tell me about 6 feet. Tell me how often are we gonna do testing first before we even get to that point?
Yes.
So I gotta defer to the 3 mile radius.
But
and
you're absolutely correct, because it's like the fake state and the DOE is like asking, oh, you know what? Okay, we have a blank check, and later on we'll go put in the numbers. So we need to know about the testing. We need to know every detail before we can open up the schools.
Thank you, KP. DJ Derbs. Next up is KP with COVID-19 update. Oh, we have one more? Let's go, DJ.
July 10th, 2020. Our advertiser, Hawaii News. Hawaii board members hear thousands speak with one voice. Thousands of teachers, community members, all denounce the move to reopen schools, period, because of this deadly virus, and 30 to 40% of the teacher educator population is in the high risk category. So we need to be mindful that many teachers has already testified that they will not return to school.
Yes.
That they will not even put their lives at risk to return to school. So we need to keep an eye on this, Kako, because we're only 2 weeks out of when school is going to begin. So
2
from
weeks.
today, our news exposing how genocide works, the illegal country of the Hawaiian Kingdom, until we reopen schools, everyone needs to keep an eye on this, because this is clear evidence that if the Board of Education decides to ignore the thousands of educators that speak with one voice, it's just more evidence on top of 127 years of evidence that we need to fix this now, Kako. So I just want to give a pass to all of you educators out there, thousands who were united in your voice to stop the genocide of our keiki and our Hawaiian families, Kako. So I got to give you guys a pass.
KP.
All right, so first off, the Board of Education shouldn't be making any decisions. It should come from the teachers,
There it is.
because the teachers, they're on the ground.
They're at risk.
They're the one every day at risk, and also actually working with the keikis. So we need to actually listen to the educators, not the people actually who sit in their offices and manage, the educational system, but we need to actually listen and listen good to the teachers. So I give the teachers a pass. And I give the Department of Education a smash, because they shouldn't be dictating to the teachers nor the parents of how to proceed to open up the schools.
KP, homework. What you gonna give a grade on these kind of actions?
well, I gotta the HSD, and really not just for this, but like they've shown how outspoken and how educated they truly are, time and time again. And this is just another example of how their voice often isn't even heard until, after these decisions are made. So I think they got to go back to the drawing board as far as the DOE, right? Because, what is this all laying us out for? Where it's like we're being forced to send our kids to school. We're being forced to indoctrinate them in Americanized programming. We're forced to vaccinate them. So what's the liability and what's the benefit for our communities other than this like militarized educational indoctrination system? Like, is that what we're going back to? I hope not. And so mahalo for the teachers for speaking up.
Yes.
And keeping these guys on their toes. Yeah, so I got to give them a pass, the green pass. For the kumus out there, nana ike kumu, ho'olohe ike kumu. Yeah. And for the state, I got to smash you guys again. What's the liability when our teachers become sick or a part of this pandemic in ways that you guys aren't prepared, obviously, for? You guys still debating 3 to 6 feet.
Mahalo, Kekumus, for stepping up and letting your voices be heard. And that's where we support you all in the endeavors to do the right thing and speak up when you need to speak up, not speak up to blow hot air. Like the DOE, where I like to say, doing over everything. Again, they got to. Everything that they do, they have to do all over again. Because these guys got a F. They are inconsiderate of our kumus who already take the lowest or insufficient pay. They don't have furloughs. Our kids are insufficiently educated at this point of time, and now they want to put their lives at risk. DJ Derbs, you better look at that. What would you call it when you're working during this is a critical pay.
Workers'
Critical
compensation. If one of the financial supporters of a family passes away, how are we going to support that teacher that has keiki? We're just going to allow them to contract this dangerous, deadly disease.
Yeah.
And then where are their children going to be left?
Right.
It's just unbelievable that the current system doesn't think about the family. So mahalo again. Cool. Workers' compensation. What's the compensation to the family when a child dies? I don't think the state of Hawaii is prepared for that, Kako.
Oh yeah, to me, you know what? If they push the teachers to go back, if they force the teachers to go back, they should have hazard pay.
Hazard pay, that's what it's called. KP,
And
I'm too young to know what that is, but KP, you know what that is.
They need
That's
some
all about
hazard
the-
insurance.
Need hazard
Right.
They better have
insurance.
hazard insurance.
and you know, and to add to this, we need to always remind ourselves, Department of Education stems from what? Americanization
Yeah.
in 1906. So they're the extension of that process, and we need to break that.
When did they drop the L in DOLE? Yeah, when did they drop the L?
DOLE. Smash, smash,
Smash
smash.
some pineapple.
Right.
We're making juice, baby.
Thank you, KP. So now, without further ado, KP cornerstone on our COVID-19 update, South Pacific, and our community outlet, South Pacific News. KP.
Okay, this is an update on the South Pacific COVID-19 in the South Pacific, and for this morning, I'm going down the stats of each island nation and their the numbers that they current have. Okay, so for Aotearoa, they have 1,543 cases. So it went up slightly from last week. But, they kind of like have it in under control. As we look at American Samoa, Cook Islands, they have 0. For Guam, they have an increase from last week roughly about 60 new cases. As we look to Fiji, they have an increase of 3 additional cases for just 21. As we look at the Hawaiian Kingdom, it actually we have a surge. Okay, so last week we had the number was 789. This morning we have 1,158. So that's a major concern right there.
Right.
Yeah, if you look like, okay, they want to actually open up the schools in 2 weeks. You also looking at actually having, people flying in, and so I think it's a major concern, and we need to push back on these 2 critical issues, on education and on tourism. Okay, as we go down the list to the Kingdom of Tonga, they have 0. Kiribati, they have 0. Marshall Islands, 0. Micronesia, they have 0. Nauru, 0. New Caledonia, they're actually out of the woods right now, because for almost 6 weeks their count is just 21. As we look to Niue, they have 0. Northern Marianas, they have 26 is their current count. So they're up 5 new COVID-19 cases. As we look to Palau, they have 0 cases. To Papua New Guinea, last week they had 8 cases. Today they have 11. So they have a slight increase. Solomon Islands, they have 0. Samoa, they have 0. Tahiti, they have 60, and they're maintaining that number for several weeks now. And for Tokelau and Tuvalu, they have 0 cases. So that's the current update for the South Pacific stats on the coronavirus. As we move on to other news, in the Solomon Islands, they just received $20 million from the Asian Development Bank to meet costs associated with the COVID-19. So in the Solomon Islands, they still have no cases recorded, and I think it's really good. And they're actually moving on, and at the same time, they have a lot of mounting costs due to the COVID-19. So it's really good that they have additional funding from the Asian Development Bank. Okay. As we move on to another story, New Zealand, and it's kind of almost like in our occupied state, where we have tourists coming into our island nations, and you have a quarantine, and they decide that they don't want to do the quarantine. So in this story right here, in New Zealand, you had an individual who was actually staying at this hotel, the Vaipuna, and this is an area where if you have tourists coming into Aotearoa, you have to have stay there for quarantine. Individual to actually climb the fence and book it out so he can go and visit all these other places, and so but actually the authorities caught him, and what they did is took him straight to the hospital and tested him for COVID-19, and luckily he was found negative. Yeah, and 2 days prior, they had another individual, a Wahine, who did the same thing. They escaped from the quarantine area and decided that they know best, and they broke the quarantine, but the authorities caught her. So I mean, it's really, really important that people, especially people from outside the country who's coming into our island nations, abide by the rules, especially the COVID-19 isolation. Yeah. And finally, we have a news out of Samoa. The great news is that rugby returns to Samoa, and this is going to be Samoa's first official rugby tournament since the COVID-19 pandemic. And so the series is the Hawaii Sevens series kicks off in Salelologa in this morning. So it's good that they're going to go back. As like everything is kind of normal, and they can pursue sports. So rugby is a really big sport in the.
It's the national sport
in the South Pacific. For all the island nations in the South Pacific, the national sport is rugby, except for the Hawaiian Kingdom due to the American occupation. So instead of rugby, we have American football. And with that, this is the South Pacific news. Aloha.
Thank you again. COVID update 19 for South Pacific news. Always keeping us updated. Mahalo KP for keeping track of all these illegal aliens running around and spreading these viruses all over our kingdoms. Add a way to have an eye on that, KP.
Oh, the slug trail.
Yes,
everywhere.
trail. Follow the
that.
trail.
So, wrapping it up, we've got our last rally of 5. DJ Derbs, hit 'em up, hit 'em up, hit 'em up.
Orders the latest blow U.S. fossil fuel projects. New York, Washington, U.S. court ordered the shutdown of the Dakota Access oil pipeline on Monday over concerns about its potential environmental impact. A big win for the Native American tribes and green groups out there. So I just gotta give the Supreme Court a big fat pass for finally listening to our Native indigenous people across America in stopping the desecration through environmental desecration and pollution on their lands. So pass for the Supreme Court and stopping the pipeline, Kako.
Cornerstone, cornerstone.
Well, it's about time that the justice system, look into cases of injustice in North America, and I find it really pleasing that they ruled for the Native Americans because throughout hundreds of years they had injustice, and with this outcome, hopefully other American Native American nations can also seek justice and return to their homeland. So I give the U.S. Justice Department a pass, and also for the people who advocated for justice for the return of ancestral lands to the Native Americans.
Homework.
Oof. There we go. Well, I gotta say congratulations to all the water protectors out there, yeah. Mahalo nui for smashing on the black mo'o, on the black snake. But see, here's an example of all the mismanagement, all the waste. Really, they should have stopped this 3 years ago when all the people were up there, right? In 2016, 2017, when all the droves of Aboriginal, indigenous people and allies across America, across Turtle Island came out and shut it down, right? They should have shut it down then. Instead, they had to go through this whole process where people were violated. People are still been violated. There's still justice to be rendered based off of all of those violations against water protectors, against native lands and so forth. So I still gotta smash the black mo'os for this one. And I believe this was a district court judge ruling to stop this, yeah. And this is after in April, the same judge told them they had to go back based on the NEPA, right, the Environmental Protections Act, and they had to take a look at some of what the Army Corps of Engineers just streamlined and rammed down everybody's throats. Sounds familiar, right? Because that's how they run every project over here in Hawaii too. So you know, it's not over, is kind of how I see it. I think it's a victory. They stopped the oil. Everyone should celebrate that. We should actually get those Kanakas back home over there to make sure it doesn't get turned back on. The federal level, right?
I think he got challenged today.
It already got pulled,
I think he
right?
got challenged today.
So the good news is no more oil flowing through.
Yes.
But that just
challenge
means
is
they get
coming.
another pipe that they sliding extras in, right? So look for the bait and switch in this one as well. We gotta keep smashing on the black mo'o. And but mahalo nui to everybody out there providing a solution, including the judge, right, of that district court. But the work continues, right? Keep smashing.
Yes, the pipeline, the black snake. We're going to see a counter of district courts ruling in favor of indigenous Aboriginal peoples.
Right.
Then you will see the racism of Barr and the Trump sound
Right.
that will come down like they did today. I'm pretty sure today, or sorry, was yesterday, July 10th. I think that there was a Supreme Court that actually is challenging this at the moment that we're speaking. So one day great news, next day genocide.
Back to the regular program, right?
Back to the regular program. But with that being said, you know, pass goes out to the district court, who has the courage to stand up
Yeah.
for the Constitution, which he or she has chosen to obligate and hold accountable under a fair duty and due process. So with that being said, we pass for the court's decision of the district, but the collusion is just too much when
Yeah.
they respond in July 10th. So Kako, if you guys don't know too much about this, go ahead and research a little bit more. But there will be multiple cases that will be coming up to describe the extent of corruption that is going to be going on. The land is underneath the indigenous people, but the federal government will say also that they're not. But to leave it on a good note, Oklahoma, we don't have the newspaper article, but Oklahoma just received a fair share of their homelands back.
Right.
And
The reservation
the
lands.
reservation.
Yeah.
So we don't know how it will go out, because one day, like you see, the court says, yes, you may go back home. Then the next day, the federal court issues a higher ruling. So all we can do is pray for the family members, our cousins out there in Mokuhonu, that continue to hold it down and hold the spaces for our future children.
I want to say one thing about that too, though, because I did hear, I was reading some things about people saying, "Hey, see, the Oklahoma natives, they got their lands back, they got their reservation back. So that's why we should be pushing for federal recognition or justice through the American court system." And that's where I gotta caution everybody, right? At the illusion of progress, right? Like Uncle Skippy says, right? Destruction is the progress is destruction in disguise, right? So a lot of times we can hang our hats on these little victories, but they sweep the rug right out from under us again. And it keeps us in this subservient second-class situation with the U.S., right? So I'm stoked for the Oklahoma natives and the Native Americans over there. You guys need to get your whole continent back, not just the little crumbs that they already gave you but took back again, right? So I celebrate that, but I also caution our people at getting too excited about the illusion of victory, right? That's why we gotta hold the hard line so hard with the Hawaiian Kingdom, right? Because we never did cut a deal. We never did take the crumbs, right? So we're not taking crumbs back. Anyone who says otherwise, they've been waiting on the Hawaiian Homes list for 99 years too long, probably.
There you go. DJ Derbs, next up. Smash, pass.
What we got?
DLNR.
No. Did you find the topic for the $500 million loan?
Oh, the 150.
No.
Okay.
Kalamayao. So right back on track. Topic was lost in the clouds. The iClouds.
in the cloud forest.
You know how that goes, Kako. And next up on the chopping block, DJ Derbs, who we got?
DLNR, Koa Trees,
Oh yeah.
corruption continuing on the Hawaiian Kingdom natural resources.
Oh no.
So
I
I just
smell
got a smash on in 2020. We're getting ripped off even with the koa trees. We get ripped off through our economics, through our educational malpractice with the truth, and now we find out koa trees is now being prostituted for somebody's pockets, kako. So I just got a smash.
KP, you been around? You been on that Mana Road? Have you been seeing and experiencing?
Well, I had experience in the past of actually individuals going into our Aina and taking natural resources. But, you know, with this issue here, is the state of Hawaii is using COVID-19 as one cover.
There it is.
Okay, so it's like one smoke and mirror show.
Yes.
There it
Look
is.
here, look there, and at the same time. But what happened is they got caught, and now two state agencies are blaming each other for the theft. But overall is boo-hoo on you because you belong to the fake state, and it's all about the money. How are you guys going to make money? And with the theft of the koa trees, like who's getting the money? Is the money going back to our people, or is the money going back in individual pockets? So first, so it's a collusion.
Special interest.
Always, special interest collusion within the fake state,
Right.
and we need to actually call them out.
Yes.
And it's like the smoke and mirror actually went fall apart. So now we can truly see you guys are deceiving our people to steal our natural resources.
There it is. Homework from what you've been studying for 5 years or so.
Oh, buddy. Well, here we go. We got to shake the tree a little bit on this one, right? Because these buggers is cutting down kupuna trees.
Yes.
And getting away. Right? Keeping us off access and getting away with it.
Right.
Putting up new fences just so they can steal more of our resources. Kupuna koa, kupuna pipi, right? Food and flora. Nothing is secret to these guys, right? It's just like this is their private cookie jar, their private ice box, their private stash, and they're going to do everything they can to keep us away, keep us out of the action, right? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but what we're seeing in some of these pictures, right, are some koa trees like bigger than a kanaka, right, wider around than a kanaka. You go look at the Hawaiian Kingdom laws on taking these kind of trees, on taking even the saplings of certain trees like iliahi and koa, right?
Violations.
There's big violation. You gotta go labor. You gotta go work for the king.
I like that.
So I think some of these people, they're already doing the labor up there, but who are they serving? Which master are they serving?
Exactly.
Right? The state of Hawaii, the top of the pyramid, right? Their own special and private interests. None of that should be happening on crown and government lands of the Hawaiian Kingdom, period. DHHL, DLNR, no matter who claims to have some kind of kuleana or jurisdiction over these lands, the resources belong to us. We have the undivided interest to them and to malama them. We have the kuleana to malama them.
Yeah.
So anybody, any state agencies, right, pointing the finger at each other, DLNR to DHHL, you guys is both guilty. Yeah? And we already shook up this tree. Yeah? Mike Robinson, the old...
Oh, there it is. Can we get a 10
Let's
point?
get some names, right?
A 10 point for this?
Shout out to Uncle Mike Robinson,
man.
right? 27 years in DHHL. And once we met him in 2015, he was out. We sniffed him out. He wanted us to go, hey, check out the koa trees. Check out the sugi pines back here. We can get you guys a nice little spot cutting grass and watching the fence for us.
This
yeah?
sounded good.
Oh, but he's out now. We got a new guy, right? One of the new Kia'is. Somebody we know pretty intimately up there, but where's the progress? Where's the benefit for the community?
Yeah.
Where's the transparency with our resources? Yeah. Where's the accountability? Where's the konohiki?
Right.
Yeah.
Where's the konohikis?
So I calling out the fake state actors, crisis actors out there, pretending to be kia'is and stewards of our resources. You're gonna get a smash very, very soon, baby.
You know what this remind me of? WWE wrestling.
Oh, right.
So you get good guys and bad guys, right? And it's up front. But at the end of the day, they all sleep in one bed.
Right.
Right? So they all crooks.
They all getting paid from
Right.
Vince McMahon, right?
The new
Yes,
world
yes,
order. Oh
yes.
man. So Kako, there's two videos on the Ao News now. The first one shows where the big kupuna trees, we would speak 4 feet in width, about 18 to 20 foot in length, two of the woods. The worst were about 15 feet in length, 2.5 foot in width. And so they're about 8 to 10 if you look at the video. And basically, this is by Gay, who Mr. Gay, William Gay, I believe his name is. But basically, he has the first Hawaiian Kingdom contract for Keanakolu cabins, where it was from the Hawaiian Kingdom. And there's this still core building there. And right alongside, we ran into the COVID-19 essential koa thieves.
Oof.
And so when we ran into it, it's so big that our video doesn't do it justice. By me describing it, can only tell you that the size of 20 feet to 4 feet in width is for va'as. That has to be, because it's perfectly lined, no curl. And when we called up DLNR, this is when it gets spicy. DLNR claimed to have no planting or harvesting of koa during COVID-19. This is exactly from the phone call from
This is
DLNR.
the timeline, right? What is this? July 7th,
Yes,
a.m.
the timeline.
9 a.m.,
We're
right? We
calling
got the
these
timeline.
we're calling these individuals up, asking them, is there any license for harvesting or foresting? They say instantly no. Well, we already knew, because we were up on the mauna doing our regular check-ins, that there were koas on the side. So we just let them hang themselves, kamakau,
Right.
whoever's answering the phone, Betty, whoever her name is.
Betty Boo.
We already seen the koa trees before we asked. And that's where they instantly said there's nothing going out during COVID. Next day, we called them, July 8th, to follow up and say, hey, there's koa trees on the side. And they were fast to use the word salvage. So, Kako, if you have any forestry on this live, what is salvage? Salvage is basically when a tree is dead, laying on the ground,
diseased, yep,
diseased
compromised,
and rotting. When you look at these pictures, there are no rot. These things are straighter than an arrow, and this is where it gets a little bit more sticky, icky. The following clip that I showed of the debris, behind the debris you had 6 or 5 logs, 10 feet or longer, maybe 1 foot in width.
the smaller cuts.
The smaller cuts.
Yeah.
So you see the big va'a goes to DLNR, because DLNR admits afterwards that they hired forestry. They hired the forestry. They hired their left hand to stroke the right hand. And
During a pandemic now,
during
right?
a pandemic, after they already
After
admitted,
but.
they already said that they didn't have nothing available for nobody. And this is the natural liars that we run into, because the second load, which was hiding in the ditch, we asked DLNR, is that yours? DLNR replied, that's the Department of Homeless Hawaiians. So, this story just blows my mind when we discuss these things during.
And you saw one of them up there too, right? When you guys rolled up.
There was an agent there,
Okay.
a forestry agent there,
Right.
a poe, sitting with walking with their dog and his other half, possibly camping next to a ranger station that is closed. What is the odds of a ranger station being closed with va'a-size koas with no permit being sitting outside right next? Well, they responded again and said, oh, but it hit a tree. I don't care if it hit a tree. It must be salvage wood. If the tree hits a fence, you move the tree
Who hit the tree, yeah?
and
Who
you
hit
put
the
it
tree?
back and you re-fence your fence. So you know that now people are requesting, Kako, let me say it again, mic check, mic check. People are requesting our video to be taken down from government agents, which through our consultation of our chief out in Punoho Ahupua'a said we are not turning in or deleting that
The evidence.
evidence.
No.
So for our chief out in Punohoa, you know who you are. Mahalo for telling the government agents while they pulled you over
Yep,
with the
yep.
flashing lights to harass you about the video. We mahalo you for staying the course. This is not about politics. This is about linking this story. We're going to put it on post after this news is over. There is a LA Times link to COAs that have been missing since 2002.
It was this 20-year-old scandal.
20-year-old scandal is they were trying to touch it. And this goes out to you, Big John Haule. Thank you for turning in those missing koa trees. Even though Kamakau and other people, Pua, and all those people who's working DLNR for many decades failed to look at those documents and forward it to the AG's office. We mahalo you, John. We know that you're not in the force no more, but 2002, you were the only one on the force that came to the front table and put in a complaint of koa that was being stolen from our crown and government land. And for that, we have to smash on this koa harvesting. But this has been going on for far too long. 20 years was just a brink of the ice. This posting that we will be showing you, it shows the ties of 20 years and more.
Yeah.
And a little inside secret before you guys read it. It's about the sweet sounds of the ukulele. So if you're a ukulele maker out there and non-native Hawaiian, this song is for you.
One of the implements.
The implements
Right.
that the LA Times are talking about are the ukulele instruments. And now the pieces are getting put together. Mahalo to the Kanaka Rangers, the Koa Kia'i,
Right.
and all of those Kanaka out there
Right.
who are not even Hawaiian, who go up there and check on those horses who died in
Right.
the corral, no water, no
Kia'is.
food. All of these people that are traveling and doing it during COVID-19 against the government ruling that you cannot leave your house and do all of these nonsense. It's because of you. You guys brought these stories forward that drew us to continue to monitor our crown lands. So with that being said, DJ Derbs, what's next up on the menu?
Hawaii Supreme Court rules in favor of Native Hawaiians in land trust case. Leona Kalima case, Supreme Court 5-0.
Boom.
So when we see the fake state recognizing their own breach of trust, their own mismanagement, their own miscalculations,
There it is.
while thousands of Hawaiians continue to die on the death list that's called the waiting list, and all of these government officials making excuses why
Yes.
not to fulfill their obligation embedded in the state of Hawaii Constitution is just genocide. So I just gotta call collusion to all of the candidates that think they can work with the DHHL, who's failed for 100 years, when I already said they have a history of obstructing Hawaiians.
Exactly.
Through going through financial bank failures where they all get the X, saying there's no land available. No. In 1920, when Prince Kuhio established the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, through the 1850 Kuleana Act, Kako, directly links the Hawaiian Kingdom rehabilitation to the Kuleana Act for all waitlisters. But yet, the department seems to serve love letters of arrest, of threatening to waitlisters that just want to clean up our backyards and do the job that
job.
the DHHL is
Fulfill the act.
not doing. So I gotta smash all those candidates out there who think they can work with a 100-year failure. We gotta fire DHHL, fire the whole department, because none of them deserve to serve the beneficiaries because the Supreme Court just said so.
Yep.
Kako, they just said so. So smash on them, Kako.
DJ Derbs for commissioner.
Hey.
Never
There
mind
we
the
go.
voting,
There you
Kako.
go.
We need the appointment.
Yep.
We need the genocide appointment. KP.
All right.
The people's appointment.
So with the Supreme Court ruling of the breach of trust, let's see if the Department of Hawaiian Homelands or the fake state will do anything positive
To honor.
but I doubt it. It's because, okay, so you have Department of Hawaiian Homeland, right? 100 years old. And it's like, if you look at the whole situation, DHHL is anti-Hawaiian.
Ayo,
They discriminate against our people. And they actually, the current administration in DHHL is a thorn, in the side of our people. They're the one who's actually stopping our people to get onto the land that they're supposed to get onto. And secondly, is when you have individuals or you have groups trying to assist DHHL. What's the response? Oh, we're going to give you a love letter. Because you know what? You're making us shame. Because you know what? You guys doing our work. So it's about, being incompetent.
Yes.
DHHL, the current administration, everybody is incompetent to actually fulfill the will of our prince. So I give DHL, they're actually on collusion with the fake state, stopping our people to get on the land. And they are the one who's actually selling our natural resources. So essentially, I give the fake state and the failed DHHL agency a smash.
Homework, lawsuit, give them a grade.
Oh, F.
Oh, fresh, funky, and funny.
You know it, baby. Yeah, we covered this topic a little bit last week. But I wanted to point out, the 27,000 on this case, right? Because it's a class action lawsuit, right?
2,700, I believe.
They had to wait 2,700. Kalamai.
I know.
They
I
had
was
to
part of
wait
that.
20 years for this, right? It should be the 27,000. Right? That's
going
only
on over
10% of the actual applicants that are waiting on this list.
Yeah.
So again, this just means they will open up the stopgap a little bit bigger, right? They still get the bottleneck at the top, right? Are those 2,700 Kanaka gonna get their land and their homes built before they, have a chance to pass it on?
Yeah.
Because they've been waiting already 20 years to render this decision. Probably another 20 years before that. That's why they even jumped on this. Case. So I just caution, right? I don't want to play the devil's advocate, but we got to caution these things and the headlines, right? We got to we got to vet the issues, and we got to see exactly how is the state going to provide and compensate these people. We already proved with the Nelson case, right, in 2015 that they haven't sufficiently provided the funds for the department. And the very next year, they still shortchanged them. The state still shortchanged the department. So the state is still in control, is still holding all the marbles, is still choking out our people, right? And so that's the guy that needs the big smash, the state of Hawaii, right? The cat in the hat. And so I also just want to point out the $150 million loan, right? I'll just use this time to bring that up, how Maui County passed their resolution to revisit that commitment from 25 years ago that Uncle Bumpy folks out in the nation of Hawaii secured, right, in order to get loans and financial resources available to the Hawaiian beneficiaries waiting on these lists, right? They had that commitment 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And Micah Kane, I believe, right? DHHL commissioner, chair at the time. This is when all these underhanded deals were happening behind executive session, right? Without the live stream watching. Nobody was hearing about the controversy until it came out in the newspaper with a headline or with a court case. So a lot of this stuff is backlog problems finally coming to light. Mahalo to the warriors out there who are just holding the fire and holding their, holding the hammer, basically, and smashing these guys for us. It's because of you folks that we have the opportunity to articulate what's happening, to figure out just how deep the corruption is within the state, the organized crime of the de facto settler state of Hawaii.
Oh, man. So, the Star Colonizer reports that the colonizer is going to pay up. But once again, false news until we see the dues paid.
Yep.
And with that being said, this lawsuit,
Show me the receipt.
We urge every homestead association, every community waitlisters, when they have these meetings on live stream or wherever you have, we should demand Isla, the liar, and his whole compound of liars to say sorry after the pule for opening and when the pule is pau. Because they have conspired, collusion with the state of Hawaii to continue to defraud all of our trust in the Hawaiian Homestead Act, that the spirit of the letter of the law that Prince Kuhio and Ali'i had put forward. And this lawsuit is a pass. Looking at the Kalima's face. Look at her body language. Tired. No, like even speak. Look at that look. Everybody get on Auntie on Tutu Lady. When that look come up, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Stand clear.
Grab your broom, grab your bar, and start banging in the yard or the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's going to end up banging on you. And for this visual, KP, thank you for showing it, man.
Yeah.
Just that whole look. We all have an auntie and a grandma that looks like that looks
I get
just
one word for that one.
frustrated and down.
I get one word for that one, right? Oni pa'a.
Oni pa'a. Kako.
Oni pa'a.
The Kalima case, DJ Derbs, thank you, man.
And you can see, if
Look
you
at
just
that.
go to the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's website, on the front page, clearly lying to everyone, it says, established by Prince Kuhio and the U.S. Congress, and then right under it, it says Department of Hawaiian Homelands. That is an outright lie, Kako, because Prince Kuhio established the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, not the Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
Yes.
The state of Hawaii created the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to obstruct Hawaiians from accessing the rehabilitation. So that's how the colonizer system, media, works to confuse you, to lie to you, to keep you from the truth, Kako.
Revisionist history, right? It's what the state of Hawaii does, de facto settler state. They just keep trying to revise the history of injustice here. Mahalo Kalani and everybody for exposing this.
The dark side of the Department of Homeless Hawaiians. So, last up on the chopping block, once again, during COVID-19, the essential stealers continue their essential BS evicting
episode.
of Kanaka.
The United Nations already declared human rights violation if any houseless or homeless community is evicted. And on the same website where you see established by Prince Kuhio and the U.S. Congress, Department
Yes.
of Hawaiian Homelands, that's the lie, Kako.
Yeah.
It's the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. Read that, know that, feel it, and then exercise. And then just below it says DHHL removes 12 unauthorized campsites in Waimanalo, Oahu, the second largest population of Native Hawaiians in one area, Waimanalo. The first is Waianae. And then we see right after a 5-0 Supreme Court decision of breach of trust of DHHL. Instead of putting 12 campsites on the land, they evict 12 campsites on the land. So they violate the UN Declaration to save all human people, human rights. They violate their own constitution, the state of Hawaii, obligation to the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, and they violate Congress. Congress people, how long you guys gonna get violated by this rogue department?
Yes.
How long you gonna let these guys continue to violate the very beneficiaries they are to serve, Kako? So I just gotta give a big fat collusion. The state of Hawaii and DHHL, fire them all.
Give them your famous quote. When people know that the DJ Derbs has left the building, you tell them what for DHHL?
Justice delayed is justice denied.
And dying
equals
on the
genocide.
land. And dying
Don't
on the land.
die on the land. Live on the land.
Commissioner DJ Derbs. KP.
All right, so like we was talking earlier about DHHL, is that I think they're very confused, and they think they have their own nation, so they don't have to follow laws.
The nation and the building.
I mean, they don't follow laws even within the U.S. Constitution or the fake state of Hawaii or even international law.
Yes.
Okay, so basic human rights is that people have a right to live freely, and yet you have people within DHHL evicting our people to actually live on the land. What they're doing is they're taking them off. So it's for me it's very confusing, because you're supposed to help the people get on the land, not off the land. And it's like sometimes DHHL, like I say, they think they're their own nation and they have their own set of laws and rules, but actually what they're committing is under international law is war crimes. So I would be very careful for individuals to actually partake in criminal activities. It falls within international law.
Yes.
Because you simply cannot say, oh, I just was following orders from my boss. How about using common sense and looking at your fellow Kanaka? If he or she needs a place to live, well, let them live there.
Yeah.
So I give the Department of Hawaiian Homeland / Nation Within a Nation of America.
Nation of Isla.
Yeah.
Homework, wrap up, the Kekula with the last topic. Here we are, DHHL eviction.
DHHL eviction. That's a great headline, actually, right? So DHHL just made 99 years since the passing of the act, right? In 1921, I think it was July 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. But anyway, right? So we're at the official 99 and a few days. So I think we need to put together our eviction notice for the DHHL on behalf of the Hawaiian Kingdom, the beneficiaries, the waitlisters, the heirs, and we need to put together our eviction notice for DHHL. And we go clean them out. We go down to the office. We go take over the office. Let's go elect our own commissioners and department workers, right, who will actually be transparent with our communities, who will actually serve us without serving special interests, right? Mm-hmm. That's the kind of action we need right now. We need community-based solutions, right? None of the mechanisms that the state is in control of is gonna render any justice or support for us. It will only render the illusion of justice, of progress. Yeah, while certain guys get benefits, while certain corporations get to pillage and plunder and pirate continuously. Yeah, and even during a pandemic, even during an emergency declaration, right? There's no bounds that the state will go to gobble it all up and take it for themselves. So the only thing that stops them is kanaka. We have to put ourselves in the way of all of this corruption. So speaking the truth, uniting on the truth, and in your communities, right, keeping localized solutions. That's my mana'o for this one, right? Let's evict DHHL. 99 years, the lease is up. They never even paid their dollar. All pow.
Fuck, can't say anything more than that, man. We gotta evict the evictors and the colonizers. But with that being said, Kako, I just wanna lighten. I'll put a little bit more light into this context. The ACLU stepped up in Big Island to protect the illegal eviction that Kashmela Shmela and Harry Alzheimer's Kupuna Healthcare when trying to evict them twice, Kako. The ACLU was quick to come in with a ruling to stop the eviction. My question is, where is the ACLU now? Yeah? Where are you now when our beneficiaries who are protected by this private trust that is compact sealed with the Congressional Act of the United States for the wrongs that they have done? DHHL has failed, and now you guys are evicting the same people who your founding state supposes to take claim and responsibility over. ACLU, you guys ran quickly to go and aid other family members or friends that have been shipped over from the Americas and put here specifically through government funding from the cold areas out in America, out on the West Coast, up in the North. They sent their people here, and when their places got raided, you guys jumped with the quick fast to put a Band-Aid over that. And we watched Harry Alzheimer's fumble the ball and lie about all of these things about they went through the process. They went through these legal routes when the ACLU started from the COVID-19 to protect all, not some. And that's where the discrimination comes in for the Hawaiian nationals and their national origin. Because of our national origin not being recognized, you guys treat us as third world trash. As if you guys can take us off of our undivided interests, crown lands, and you guys can violate us. You guys can call us trespassers, thieves, homeless, bums, whatever you guys want to classify us as. But DHHL, for you, Kahana, Ayla, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You guys should have went there and asked those people, who is 50%? Who is successors? Whose mom and dad died on that wait list? The wait list that you guys colluded, right? The wait list that you guys put together to fail us. It wasn't their fault, and maybe some of them in there are not. But it's your job and it's your kuleana to go ahead and look after our heirs and our Native Hawaiians and beneficiaries who have their undivided interest through the act of Congress, not the act of Ige or the act of all of these cronies and these colonizers. And that's what I have to say is a national crisis that is taking place in Koava Ipai Aina.
Right.
And do you guys have anything else
Right
to
here
say
on our Mauna.
before we wrap this
Right.
up? One quick thing. Today, if you guys have chance, the Nakio Pa'akia'i is having a 2-day event for our Kia'is, our Kupuna, who have stood for our Mauna. It will start today at 11. If you guys have time, practice social distancing, wear face masks. We have Kupuna who are waiting on a death list. We got only 40,000 left. Please don't let them die in vain by COVID. So keep your social distancing. Take up a little me'ai. Stay hydrated. But that's kind of like what I wanted to wrap up.
All right. Today at 11 o'clock, if you guys have time, and if you guys and North Kohala, they're going to have several speakers speaking about sex trafficking.
Malama ina keiki kako.
Right,
Get
right.
there today.
Yeah.
We will post the sign out today. Sorry we didn't post it. We just got this news right
Right,
now.
yes.
But KP, thank you for updating everybody. 11 at where?
It's going to be in North Kohala at the hub All
At
right.
the hub?
Yeah, at the hub.
Where's the hub located?
It's
Is
right
it the heart?
in the heart of downtown.
Okay, so it is that by the statue?
No. It's right across the service station.
76?
Yeah, and there's a park. There's a park, the service station, and right across there's the hub. It's like it was like a hotel. So right in that location.
Okay, Kako, if you guys have the opportunity, please, malama ina keiki, kalamai that we didn't put that flyer up for whoever's hosting and holding this event, but we are going to, after this session is paused, we're going to put that up so you guys can get there today, Kako, 11 o'clock, 2 hours and counting. Makahana ka ike and Rapid Aloha, DJ Derbs, after our constitutional oathbreaker.
Constitutional oathbreaker this week has got to be in alignment with the same crisis actors that represent the state of Hawaii and DHHL by continuing to break their own Constitution's oath, the 1959 Constitution, and also the 1920 Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. So unless these constitutional oath breakers are held accountable, these egregious crimes of withholding the federally congressional rehabilitation will continue targeting Hawaiians for death by waiting. So that's my constitutional oath breaker this week, as the corruption continues and they are not fulfilling the rehabilitation by evicting houseless Hawaiians on the beach, Kako.
Cornerstone.
Okay, so I just
Constitutional
want to
oathbreaker.
give a brief update. So it's going to be in Hawi in Kohala, this morning's event. Constitutional oath breakers, I have on tie. I have actually two departments. Okay.
Putty.
Yeah, so twice. Pai on the po'o. Okay. So the first one is DHHL for being corrupt and taking Kanaka off the land and not on the land. And the second one is the irresponsible, actions of the Department of Education to put our keikis and kumus at risk. So that's my constitutional oath breakers for
Homework, constitutional oath breaker homework.
Yeah, looks like we having alphabet soup for breakfast, right? DHHL, DLNR, right? We starting with D's today. You guys get D's, but you guys get F's. Yeah, you guys get F's for grades.
D's.
Anyway, this is like the picture that I look at when I see DHHL and DLNR, right? Like, you could replace that with OHA and DLNR too, right? It was him. You know, these guys, they like to point the finger at each other, but really they stay shaking each other's hands like this, right? Yeah. Making sure all the corruption stays in house, stays with the freaking families. Right? So I got to smash on DHHL and DLNR for your guys' inability not only to do what you're obligated to do, right? Take care of the land and natural resources, provide homes for Hawaiians, right? But you got 67,000 acres on Hawaiian homes, and what do you guys use it for? Your own personal cash cow. So I got to smash you guys using environmental racism, yeah? Like taking leads from people like, what's his name? Chris Ewan, who just got reaffirmed to DLNR. The cat in the hat, right? All these cats in the hats, right? Underneath Suzanne Case, underneath Nature Conservancy, underneath David Ige, right? We sniffed you guys out already. We got it. DLNR, DHHL, you guys are corrupt. So we smashing you two oath breakers again.
Oh, so constitutional oath breaker for this week, it has to go to the state of Hawaii and Ige for continuing to allow the eviction during this pandemic. Clear discrimination case. There's many unpermitted structures down at Honokahau Harbor, down maybe possibly William Isla's property with his extra storage room on his property. I don't know. You guys gotta check out those things. But there's many unpermitted structures around there, and so we need to focus in on not evicting our Kanakas, but let's evict the corrupt Kanakas, which is the state of Hawaii and all its cronies. So there you guys will have the constitutional oath breaker of the week. Makahana Kaike, DJ Derb's homework.
Attend every DHHL representative meeting. Demand that they apologize for their treatment of Hawaiian beneficiaries for the past 100 years. And keep an eye out on the movements to open up school and the colonized verbiage that they're going to put out to get you guys to affirm colonized, dangerous way to reopen schools, kako. So, maka'ala oko, no ko kako, aina aloha keia. Let's save our land and its people, kako.
KP, makahana kaike.
All right. So what we need to do as the people is to push back. So when we see corruptions, we need to push back.
Oh, you mean push the record button?
Right. Push the record button and record
Right,
the
there it
continued
is.
corruption. Because
Right.
we can no longer let these people slide.
Yeah.
We're going to put on dead stop to these people. Okay? And so,
Press record.
press record and also
Talk clearly.
talk clearly. And most of all, let's do our homework.
There you go, KP. Makahana kaike, homework.
Let's go. Makahana kaike. You know, I'm going to take it back to the Aina. In the spirit of La Ho'i Ho'i Ea at the end of this month, right? We want to make that not
End of
just
this
a
month,
day.
la ho'i ho'i.
We don't want to make that just a historical day. We need to make that the catalyst for our revolution, right? Of the next generation of Kanaka seizing their sovereignty, returning to the land, returning to our kuleana. So va ho'i ho'i ea, yeah, we in the va right now. We returning our sovereignty, and it starts with the corruption. So mahalo to everybody out there, doing their due diligence, recording, documenting everything and putting it out there. We need to unify on a foundation of truth and justice. We can't build anything else on top of that, because otherwise we're just playing sandcastles. So let's actually get back to our Aina. Let's try to network with all the community gardens out there. Right now everyone's staying at home, collecting, trying to get unemployment. Let's put that energy right into the Aina, guys. Go get involved with your community gardens out in Hamakua. If you guys need a place, hit me up. Right, we got the Rootverse and doing Olympics every week. But if you're in Hilo, go check out all these different projects, fish pond restoration, community gardens and such. It starts in the homestead and the community. So reach out to your community.
Makahana kaike for this week and every week. Make sure to check up on your kupuna, check up on your makuas, your makuahine. Check out how they're doing mentally, physically. Stop by, check in with your ohana. COVID has a spike of domestics and other, even on suicides, have been at the all-time high during this COVID-19. We can't engage with our family members. We can't do the normal things Hawaiians do. But with that being said, don't let the government tell you what to do. Check up on your grandmas. Check up on your papas. Check up on your makuas if you guys are not on the island. Take care. Malamaina Keiki this week. Go ahead, check them out. 11 o'clock out in North Kohala. That's the homework, and that will continue to be the homework assignment until we leave this Ko'awaipai Island. Anything else, Kako?
Rapids.
Sponsor, Rapid Alohas.
Okay.
There we go.
Rapid aloha kako to our kupuna, ku'e, palapala ku'e, 1897. All you candidates who choose to lie out there and try to ignore our kupuna,
Shame on you.
heva on you, and just take your name off the ballot already. Unless you can tell the truth about our history, get out of town, kako.
DJ Durr.
That's simple.
KP.
All right, we would like to thank our sponsor, Kanakakawa. You can find them in the Coconut Grove in Kona, or you can contact them by Facebook or Instagram.
There it is.
Kanakakawa.
I need jug, baby.
Homework. Rapid aloha. Who is it going to?
Hey, shout out to my cousins over at Bite the Eye as
Bite
well.
the
If you in
Eye.
Hilo, they got the best fish plates. Go check
yeah.
them out in
Hands
the
down.
homestead, right? At least you can get some good food at the mall now, you know.
Yeah.
So shout out Bite the Eye. Go check them out. Also wanted to shout out to Brother Jarek and all the ohana out there who shut down Puhonua, right? The
Puhonua.
permit was shut down. So all the work for Brother Jarek and everybody out there.
This is what Huhonua looks
There
like.
we go. There we go.
Madeiras,
That's
cousin
the
Madeiras.
fruits of the labor.
If you guys are looking for any fundraisers, Madeiras cousin is out there
There we go.
doing the fresh
Yeah.
pickle mango. Not from the Honu station.
Another candidate that is doing awesome work and on the foundation of truth and justice as well, right?
Back
For
to
county
back
council.
this week. Jarek, county council.
And last one, right? Mauna Kea this week, coming around the 1 year of the last occupation, right? So I know, shout out to the Ohana up there on the Mauna this weekend doing Ailike, which is like consensus building.
Yeah.
That's very important. We gotta build on a foundation of truth and justice. So shout out to the Kia'is up there holding it down another year. And we see you guys at the next one, right?
Yep, and all of those family members who are up there, who supported, who continue to send pule, you guys are greatly appreciated. Without the prayers and the spiritual work, the Kino cannot really function. So with that being said, Kako, I'm the National Crisis.
DJ Derbs.
This is KP. Stay safe in the kingdom.
Say it with your heart. Say it
Say it
when you
with your
sleep,
heart.
baby.
Kualoha aina.
No kokako aina.
No kako aina. Ko kako aina. Mahalo. To
Aloha.
the next week, kualoha aina.
Keep smashing.
Lights off.